What is your summer 2020 memory? China was able to catch a breath after the quarantine in Wuhan took effect. A crime/thriller TV series called The Bad Kids took over the social media and was so popular that everyone was talking about it. The Bad Kids was about 3 kids who were neglected by their families became friends. They witnessed a murder while they were hiking in the mountains, and they learned that they can deal with people they didn't like through violence and get away with it using their innocent look and young age. The solid acting, logical plot, and the nostalgic props and sets all contributed to the extra realistic texture of the series. This gave rise to heated discussion on the idea of bad kids. That is, how bad can kids be, and when they did bad things intentionally, to which extent our legal system could protect, or the other way around, could punish them. In December 2020, China passed the 11th Amendment to its criminal law, in which Article 17 was amended so that the minimum age of criminal liability was lowered from 14 to 12. It was a great improvement. And today, 3 years after the amendment took effect, we are finally witnessing its first application. This case happened just a week ago and has received tremendous attention in China. New evidence is revealed every day, so this video might be less structured. Don't forget to subscribe to Friday Odeon. Now join me to explore the atrocities done by the kids, bit by bit. On March 13th, a keyword stating 3 kids killed my son went trending on China's largest social media, Weibo. The content showed a screenshot of someone's WeChat moment. WeChat is the #1 messenger app in China. This post reads, "My son was alive and thrived by 3 p.m. on March 10th. This boy sitting on the e-moped is my son. The one driving and the other kids standing next to the moped are the murderers. All of the balance in my son's online account was gone at 10 past 4. He was not answering the phone. It turned out that he was beaten to death, his face destroyed, and he was buried. Their families were not cooperating, so the police and I had to knock on their doors for 2 hours. They said we scared their kids. If your kids are your babies, then why should my kids be beaten to death? A life for a life. I urge the government to conduct a fair and open investigation. The perpetrators must receive harsh punishment. The murderers must pay with their own lives." From this somewhat incoherent message, we can picture a heartbroken and desperate father disclosing a shocking murder committed by some kids. It was not difficult to tell how messed up this case was, even from the fragmented information. So the case instantaneously shot up to #1 on the trending list. Medias followed up quickly, and within a few hours, we were able to fill in more details of this tragic incident. ZY was a 7th grader at Jiudian Junior High School in Han Dan, Hebei Province. Like a lot of his schoolmates, he lived with his grandparents. His parents work in larger cities in other provinces in order to support the entire family. March 10th, Sunday. At around 1 p.m., ZY told his grandma that his friends would pick him up soon and they were going to hang out for the afternoon. As his grandma recalled, they were going to explore a tunnel or play a game called Tunnel or something. At around 2 p.m., ZY's grandparents needed to leave the house for a while. His grandpa called to check if he should leave the front gate unlocked for him. According to Grandpa, ZY sounded delightful and told him he would be back very soon. At 5 p.m., the grandparents came back, surprised to find that ZY still hadn't returned. To help the audience get a better sense of time, sunset in Han Dan right now is around 6:30 p.m. People living in the area usually eat dinner early, so it was normal for the grandparents to expect their kids return by 5 p.m. ZY's grandparents made another call to him, but this time, ZY's phone was powered off. Grandpa remembered ZY charged his phone before he left, so this was definitely not a good sign. ZY's grandma called his teacher and got a list of contact info of his close friends. However, none of his friends said they saw ZY today. ZY's grandpa gathered some neighbors and relatives to search for him. The search lasted till 10 p.m. ZY's family tried everything they could but still couldn't find him. They decided not to waste any more time and called the police. By default, the police look up footage from the surveillance cameras. After a few hours of investigation, they successfully traced part of ZY's path and confirmed that he was hanging out with 3 of his classmates. At around midnight, ZY's family followed the police to visit the 3 classmates for more information. However, the classmates' families were uncooperative, refusing to open their doors under the excuse that the police were scaring the kids. ZY's family, having seen the CCTV footage, was also pushing hard. Eventually, the 3 classmates agreed to answer some quick questions from the police. At first, they denied seeing ZY today, but when they were shown the camera footage, they said they hung out with ZY only for a little while and parted as a short guy picked him up. The first round of investigation concluded at 2 a.m. on March 11th. Since blind spots still existed for the surveillance cameras, the focus of the next step of investigation fell on the short guy mentioned by ZY's classmates. On the morning of March 11th, ZY's parents came back to Handan from work. The first thing they did was to transfer all ZY's mobile services and credentials to ZY's father's phone. This way, ZY's father can pull up his messages and chats to try to figure out what happened. He was shocked to find out that all of the balance in ZY's digital wallet was gone. One single transaction was made to transfer out the entire balance at 4 on March 10th to someone under the alias of 6. However, 6 was not a contact of ZY, and naturally no chat history between the 6 and ZY can be found. After checking with ZY's teacher, ZY's father learned that 6 was actually one of his classmates, called Zhang. Zhang happened to be one of the kids that was captured by the surveillance camera who hung out with ZY yesterday. ZY's father immediately shared this important finding with the police. In the meantime, the police traced back the camera footage but couldn't find any suspicious short guy. ZY's mother and aunt called all the neighbors and distant relatives they could find to ask if they knew any short guy and failed as well. So when ZY's father came with the finding about the transaction, the police immediately went to Jiudian Junior High School to conduct a more strategic questioning on the 3 kids. This time, with the CCTV footage and the transaction history, the kids admitted that they killed ZY. At around 2 p.m., police arrested Zhang, Ma, and Li for murdering ZY. A couple of hours later, around 4 p.m. on March 11th, the police took the 3 suspects to a field to point out where they committed the crime. ZY's family was present as well. The suspects led the group to an abandoned high-tunnel greenhouse. ZY's parents knew there was little hope that ZY was still alive. But when they saw the suspects pointed to the ground, they had to admit that the worst had happened. The police decided to let the uncle be the person to identify the body, and had ZY's parents take a break. As the forensics removed the soil, ZY was found buried in a 1 meter by 60 centimeter or 40-inch by 25-inch pit. His face was covered with deep and narrow cuts. ZY's mother and grandmother fainted and were hospitalized later that day. This is everything ZY's family knew by March 12th. Let's discuss your hypothesis in a comment. In the next video, I'm going to list out all the information emerged in the following days and try to reconstruct what happened to ZY on March 10th. Please like and subscribe. The new video is on its way.